Hello, Chad.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good?
Good to see you.
Well, thanks again for coming today.
Mm-hmm.
So from our last meeting, I wanted to ask you what comes to mind when you think about the accident with your coworker.
Well, I would say now, when I think about it, I don't feel like I feel like a lot better. I don't feel like as paranoid as much anymore, or like a very deep feeling of fear doesn't come on me as much anymore. So I would say I feel a lot better. I don't know if that necessarily means I'm better, but I just know for sure, like when I do think about an accident, I don't go into like a state of like paralyzation mentally, where it's more of just like it hurts because he was one of my really good friends and a coworker, so it'll catch me off guard every now and then, but I don't feel as paranoid now, which I think is a good thing. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm like any better. I don't know. So.
Okay. So am I right that you don't feel as paranoid as you did when we first began, but that now you're kind of at this place of trying to handle these uncomfortable feelings, but you are still a little bit unsure of how to go about that?
Yeah, I would say you're right for sure. The paranoia is definitely kind of diminished. It's there a little bit, but I feel like I've overcome majority of it. And but yeah, you're right. I still kind of don't know how to handle some of the anxiety that comes with it. If I'm in the middle of cooking dinner or something like that, and something reminds me of the accident, a sound or whatever, I go into a state of like, what am I doing? I kind of lose my train of thought. And then I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to get back on track. So yeah, you're definitely right. I don't know how to handle it sometimes.
Okay. Does it kind of feel like maybe you're in a fog? Would that be an accurate description of how when you say like you're cooking and whatnot, and then you kind of just get off topic or off of focus?
Yeah.
Okay. And what does that fog look like for you? Like when you feel like you are getting off of where you're kind of wanting to be, that comfortable feeling?
I would say it's kind of like, I'll just come to really tell you how, and I know it sounds silly, so don't judge, but
no judgments here.
Think about like when you're at a gun range and you put the noise canceling like headphones on, and everything around you, all the like noises and stuff, they like diminish, and all you can hear is like the sound of your breathing, or like if you're underwater or something like that. That fog, like feeling like in the fog, like if I'm in the middle of cooking and I'll go into a state like that, where kind of the sounds around me kind of deplete, and I'm just lost in my own train of thought about the accident and kind of replaying the events in my head. And sometimes my wife, she's like, hey babe, you okay? And she'll tap me on the shoulder or something, and then it's like I zoom out of it and kind of, oh yeah, I'm fine, and I just go back to what I was doing. But that's how I would describe the fog.
Okay. What connections do you think that you could make between these feelings of like the fogginess, or this like, I guess just fogginess, between how you're feeling and then the event that happened with your coworker? Is there any connection that you think could draw from maybe this uncomfortable feeling?
Connections. Like, are you kind of referring to like maybe like the things that push me into a state of fogginess?
Yeah, so it could be what pushes you into the state of fogginess. we can talk about that. Yeah, if you that would be important to understand.
I think what the connections would be is more like when we were working together, there was a lot of communications. He knew me very well. There was things that we would say to each other that we kind of like best friends, where you kind of know each other's slang, you know each other's word. Like I could say just one word and he would be able to know exactly what I mean without fully explaining it, things like that. So I think the connections of the fogginess to that is when I hear other people make similar references that he would make, or make a joke that he would make, or just do something that reminds me of him, and that's what pushes me into that. So that's what I would say would be the connections. Was yeah, when something like that happens.
Okay. So you're saying you feel maybe that like intenseness from the actual accident experience when maybe you're in conversation with someone that responds in the way that Colton would have. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oftentimes if I'm in a conversation with somebody, maybe a relative of his or a friend of his, we all have a very close friend circle. So if someone would make a reference towards Colton, who no longer lives in the state, he actually moved away because it was such a traumatic experience for him. He moved back to his hometown to kind of be there to recover. So when I'm around friends that we share friends, from here,
mm-hmm.
and if I'm around friends that and we make a joke or say something, hey, remember when Colton and you used to do that? It would push me into that state.